Though it might seem like a basic dessert, every creamy bite of cheesecake has a large manufacturing line that most people never witness. One of New York's most well-known dessert establishments, Factories produces millions of cheesecakes yearly in a bustling facility only opposite the Hudson River. Not much has changed in the recipe since 1950. For those who love dessert, the tale of how this factory operates is as rich as the cakes themselves. It helps you to value every bite's creative history and force.
Yummy!
What kind of cheesecake would you only eat for the rest of your life? New York Classic A. B. Strawberry swirl. C. Chocolate mousse. D. Pumpkin layer cake. Cream cheese, the most vital component of the company, kicks off the trip. Cheesecake Factories uses almost 7 million pounds of this single ingredient in a normal year. For a long time, the factory has worked with Kraft Heinz, the maker of Philadelphia cream cheese. This implies that each batch begins with the best foundation. People gently pull huge blocks of cream cheese out of boxes and toss them into mixing basins resembling something out of a science fiction movie. Sugar, eggs, heavy cream, and vanilla create a mix that seems very simple, but fans all over the world know right away what it tastes like. Production is deliberately arranged to strike the appropriate balance between technology and legacy. The stainless steel bowls holding the batter, which are large enough to feed an army, are then rolled to the assembly line. Automatic depositors pump out just the right amount into waiting pans, which makes what used to take bakers hours to do by hand a lot easier. Factories, however, has not lost sight of its roots. Just like Harry Rosen did when he launched the bakery in 1950, Junior still adds a layer of vanilla cake in every pan. This is unlike most other bakeries which use graham cracker crusts. Though it doesn't seem like a lot, this tiny component is what distinguishes the cheesecake and motivates repeat business from consumers. What happens next could be better than any cooking show. The batter is carefully placed in pans, air bubbles are let out, and in some cases, fruit swirls are added with mechanical accuracy. A robot now finishes strawberry swirl cheesecakes that used to be painstakingly hand-decorated, but the art is still there. After that, the cakes go into the oven. Unlike most bakeries, Factories bakes its cheesecakes in water baths instead of on racks. This method evenly spreads the heat, which keeps the bottoms from burning and lets the cakes rise gently like soufflés before settling into their thick, creamy texture. The cheesecakes are inspected for quality several times after they are baked to a golden brown. Workers inspect the core temperatures for safety, but third-generation owner Alan Rosen can typically detect when a cake is exactly perfect. The cakes then rest until they cease to shake. Factories won't appreciate a cheesecake that wobbles. Bakers lightly heat the metal in a modified pizza oven until the cakes readily come out. They then enter a blast freezer maintained at 0 degrees to preserve the freshness until it is time to decorate and package. Although Basic and Strawberry Swirl are still well known, Factories offers a wide range of flavors. Mousse covers chocolate mousse cheesecakes, which are then drenched in a stream of chocolate and topped with little chips. Pumpkin layer cake cheesecakes seem elegant thanks to frosting and cake crumbs. For bakers and robots to collaborate to complete the cakes is a contemporary spin on a traditional approach of doing things. Every cheesecake is stacked, labeled, and packed for delivery after it goes down the packaging line once it is made. Not one cake lasts over 30 days on the shelves. Getting things out there is an accomplishment in itself. Factories ships its products to more than 12,000 grocery stores across the country, including Kroger, Publix, and Costco. Grocery stores mostly sell 6-inch classic cheesecakes, but they also sell mini cheesecakes in variety packs. At the same time, the company's 4 New York restaurants are still very popular with both locals and tourists who want to try a slice in the city where it all started. Factories is now the biggest cheesecake business in New York, and maybe even the whole country, thanks to its sales to restaurants, stores, and customers. The narrative starts with Harry Rosen opening the first Factories restaurant in Brooklyn on Election Day, 1950. For him, it was easy. He wanted to open a restaurant with a dessert so delicious that it would make the entire visit noteworthy. That wish came true rather fast. Famous people and politicians were going to factories all the time by the end of the 1900s, which made it even more well-known. Long before the internet made buying things easy, the business was the first to sell cheesecakes by mail in the 1980s. Factories sold thousands of cakes in minutes when QVC aired his show in 1995. Among its most well-known events was this one. But the business has always had problems. The pandemic made all of Factory's restaurants close in 2020, which was a huge blow to a business that relied on people eating there. During that time, direct-to-consumer orders doubled, but the fight was far from over. There was a nationwide shortage of cream cheese in 2021 because of problems with the supply chain and even a cyber attack on a facility in Wisconsin. Factories had to stop making things temporarily because it ran out of its most important ingredient. This meant missing out on big orders and going through one of the most stressful times in its history. Just as supplies began to stabilize, inflation struck once more. From $1.50 per pound to over $3, cream cheese prices more than doubled. Other components like sugar, eggs, and heavy cream increased similarly. Rising labor expenses further squeezed the business on all fronts. Although yearly sales remained over $100 million, earnings decreased by 6%. Rosen, who has more than 30 years of experience in the industry, claimed this was the most trying period he had ever faced. Though demand for cheesecake hardly decreased, prices had to climb. The recipe has always been there, no matter what. For more than 70 years, they have refused to change the recipe that makes its cheesecake so special. Rosen can't even think about changing the ingredients or cutting corners, even if it would save money. That promise to be real is what keeps customers, from longtime fans in New York to new fans in Oklahoma, so loyal. As one customer said, the taste of cheesecake is so strong in their mind that even higher prices can't stop them. At a factory, cheesecake is more than just a dessert. It's a way of life, a tradition, and in many ways, a way to stay alive. The cakes have survived decades of changes in the economy, food trends, and even global crises, but the recipe is still the same, like a time capsule for food. Their cheesecake is popular for more than just its taste. It's also about who you are. For New Yorkers, getting a slice is almost a rite of passage, a small but sweet reminder of the city's history and energy. There aren't many desserts that are as important to Americans as this one. It's also interesting how they have been able to keep its brand strong while growing across the country. The move from Queens to a large factory in New Jersey could have watered down the product, but instead it let the company grow while keeping its traditions. Robots do the same tasks over and over again, and workers bring their knowledge to the table. Together, they keep production going. This mix of modern machines and personal touch makes feel like a craft store, even when they are making a lot of them. A lot of businesses can't find that balance, but here it works perfectly. It's worth taking a moment to think about how strong the company is in times of crisis. When the pandemic closed, restaurants, factories changed direction and focused on direct-to-consumer sales, showing that it could adapt to a crisis. The company went through what should have been a disaster when there was a shortage of cream cheese, and now that prices are going through the roof because of inflation, it stays in business by carefully raising prices without losing its loyal customers. It's hard to picture a future without their cheesecakes in grocery store freezers or on tables in Brooklyn, given their history of survival. In the future, factories will probably be a mix of old and new. The company isn't afraid to try new things like seasonal flavors and fun things like cheesecake shakes, but the original recipe is still at the heart of everything they do. New life thanks to its move into supermarkets. This spreads the risk and grows the brand's reach. Alan Rosen wants to do more than just keep his grandfather's legacy alive. He wants to make sure that every generation has the chance to fall in love with the cheesecake that made his family famous.